Sardor says, using grammar effortlessly without having difficulty to incorporate them in our speech. That is in relation to an earlier question, what is the best way to activate grammar in our speech? Okay. I think this is a really good question if the meaning is, what's the best way to, not just know grammar, but actually put it into practice, actually use it. This is why I always talk about grammar in terms of examples and context. It's great to have explanations. It's great to have a lesson, right? But really, when you get down to it, when the rubber meets the road, you've got to learn by examples. The human brain is naturally programmed to pick up grammatical pieces. We have a kind of built-in grammar system. Noam Chomsky calls it universal grammar. And when we're very little, we pick up, using our universal grammar programming in our brains, we pick up the grammar of the language that we're born into. Now, that doesn't mean we can only learn one. Babies are amazing language learning rubbery machines. They can learn 2, 3, 4 languages at a time and know which one is which. It's pretty amazing, right? So what happens when a native speaker of any language learns their language? They're learning the vocabulary, the words. They're learning the phonemes. Those are the sounds that identify the language. You don't hear me making any sounds because there aren't any sounds in English, right? But maybe in other languages there are, and those sounds, also known as phonemes, identify a language. It's almost like a language's fingerprint is its phonemes. Then you also have the grammatical structure. For example, in English, the standard sentence structure is subject, verb, object. That's the basic structure where the subject does the action, the verb, and the object kind of receives the action. Now, it's, of course, much more complicated than that, but that sort of thing is what we pick up, and we pick it up naturally. How do we do it? We hear people speaking. We interact with it by speaking ourselves. When we're little kids, we put together words and sentences gradually, and we get feedback by whether or not those words and sentences help us to accomplish what we want to accomplish, right? Like, I'm hungry. Give me a banana. Right? Well, if it works, then it's kind of like feedback. This is how you activate grammar in your language by, number one, immersing yourself in it completely. As a baby, as a little kid, you're completely immersed. The writing, movies, TV shows, video games, parents, uncles, cousins, friends, schoolmates, everybody's using it. You're surrounded by it. You're immersed, and you're creating with it. And every time you create with it, use the grammar, you're getting feedback. Does it work or not? Do people understand or not? So there's a kind of push and pull. There's a kind of input-output. So that input-output is what you need if you want to really master a language. Now then, if you're learning English as a second language, what do? You didn't get it as a little kid. What should you do? Well, if you want to go to a grammar book and study how it works, I guess that's okay. But the key thing is that you know what it means and how it works by example and in context. And then you actually practice using it by writing on your own, by speaking with others in the same way that a little kid would. So I guess the advice is try to, as much as possible, follow that model I described where babies learn and master the language and their grammar through input and output, through exposure and practice, rather than just saying, okay, what is a preposition? Master what a preposition is. Learn a list of prepositions. Okay, what is subjunctive mood? Master it. Look at the structure. Understand it. Okay, how do I build the present perfect tense? Okay, it's I have... Instead of doing that, don't worry too much about what is it called, or what is the structure, or what does the diagram look like? I mean, diagrams are the worst. All of that stuff, don't emphasize it so much. Instead, Try to put it into practice as quickly as possible and get feedback from real human beings. And I think you're going to find pretty quickly that you're using it naturally. Your brain is capable of picking up a new language and its grammar. So just start immersing yourself, read books, watch movies, have conversations, play video games, and then make stuff with it. Make friends, give talks, join groups, play video games, all of that stuff, and do as much as you can, and it will just happen by itself.